How you doing? This is Jason Gutierrez, PT, Saturday, January 5th, 2019. Gonna go ahead and do a demonstration of rotator cuff strengthening for endurance. And I'm gonna go ahead and use several mounts on the wall mount setup. As you can see, I have say about a 7 foot high, a foot over my head. I have a chest level, face level mount, and I have we'll say a navel level mount and a waist level mount a little bit lower, and I also have a mount down low, which you can't see on the camera there, but it's maybe about a foot up off the floor. So again, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that this type of setup gives you so much leeway to work on your strength and tendon strength and your muscle endurance and even growth, depending on how heavy you do the resistance bands. So further ado, I'm going to go ahead and do just a few different sets as a superset for rotator cuff conditioning. So what I've noticed in myself and with my clients through the years is an overuse of upper trapezius and maybe superior cuff versus a proper scapular stabilization and a proper humeral head depression into the socket with performance of rotator cuff exercises. So what I'd like to do first is drop down into a little bit of scapular depression and humeral head depression to really activate that neuromuscular control of the rotator cuff. So what I do is I just basically pull the bands from the high mount, pull them down, keep those elbows bent to 90 degrees, activate those shoulder blades dropping down a little bit, activate those humeral heads, the big arm bones to pull towards the socket a little bit, and then get into your rotation. So obviously you can do rotation at different angles of abduction, which is the movement of your arm up away from your side. So I'm about 15 degrees of abduction. So I'm dropping, rotating, dropping, rotating, dropping, rotating. And I'll tell you what, this gets you a great burn in the parascapulus and the shoulder itself. 3, 2, 1. Good. So that's basically humeral head cue. How to get that humeral head to pull towards the socket before you rotate and get those external rotators kicking in. That's why I like that, you know, personally. So I'm going to go ahead and superset that with a scaption raise. A scaption raise, I'm going to go from the low mount. So scaption is the plane between the front and side plane. So you're thinking, we're going to go palms down, 30 degrees of scaption, front side raise, palms in, 30 degrees of scaption. Now we know the full can is when the thumbs are up and the palms face in, but I also like neutral rotation, which is palms down just like that as I lift. So I'm going to superset those two. And again, I'm going to do, say, about 15, 16 reps. See, I'm more concerned on fatigue and proper form than I am actual repetitions when I'm working rotator cuff endurance. But, you know, 3 sets of 10 to 12 is standard, so you could always stick with that if you wanted. Just don't lose good form. Alright, so there's your scaption raise in the superset. So then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 angle rotation, internal and external, so internal, external, from the, let's say, chest, face level mount. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of tension on this guy. So I'm going to rotate low, I'm going to rotate about halfway up, and I'm going to rotate at 90 degrees. So we want to think like our elbows are resting on something, so we want to get nice external rotation with each rep. And I'm getting a little bit of internal, but you know, my focus is we do enough internal rotation, reaching across the body. Our pecs are stronger than our rotator cuff. So I like to focus more on the external rotation than the eccentric coming back in. Alright, so you can see the different options that this gives you. The high mount will allow you to work a little bit more on that scapular and humeral head depression before you rotate. The low mount will give you a nice anchor point for, you know, 30, 45 degree scaption raises, and the chest level mount is a nice mount as well for rotation at different angles of abduction. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Try this a few days a week. Will definitely complement your training. Thanks.